Okay, we're doing it. I'm pretty excited about this video today because it's what I've actually been watching on YouTube. These artists that I follow post creating, and then they kind of like voice over and talk through what they're doing while they're doing it. Yeah, I've made stickers for people before for Christmas presents, and before I did that, I was like, oh my gosh, how would you even do that? And once you go through the process of doing it, it's actually really easy. So if you have like mediocre design experience and you have an iPad, you could probably make your own custom stickers, and it's not even that expensive. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first off, the whole idea of like this particular design and why I did it. So my two younger brothers, Andrew and Jay, have a podcast and they are pumping them out. So I have not even listened to all of them, but yeah, I just love that they are doing this. So one of the inside jokes that they've made on this podcast is instead of saying anyway, they say any eggs. Like they'll go off onto a tangent and then they'll go, any eggs, and then they get back onto the main subject. So I've joked before to them that like if they made merch with any eggs on it, that I would buy it. And so ever since I said that, I've like had in the back of my head like how I would design an any eggs logo. So the other day I was just like, okay, I have some free time. Why don't I just like sit down and like sketch out my thoughts about this? So then once I did that, I got like so excited about how it looked. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do a thing with like all different inside jokes from their podcast and like make a whole sticker sheet. So that's where the whole thing starts, is when I started designing this Any Eggs logo. I'm using my iPad, the Procreate software, and my Apple Pencil. Yeah, so I started out by just like blobbing out an egg and then trying to make the letters spell any eggs. And I just like didn't like how sloopy this was. So then I was like, okay, why don't I start by drawing out the shape of the egg and then like typing it out in font and then distorting the font into the shape. So basically using the font as like my baseline so that the letters look more uniform. And I thought about maybe putting smiley faces on them for a second, but they're more sophisticated than that, so I left them off ultimately. This is when I started to get the big idea of like, okay, if I wanted to make a sticker sheet, what other inside jokes could I put on it? And I came up with these ones, and I'll talk more in depth about each one that I do, like when I'm actually drawing it. But yeah, that's when I got the big idea. So Jay, we had an episode on mindfulness or something, or like the voices in your head. And Jay brought up how he sometimes has quiet cereal, which is basically like meditating, but like telling himself like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, eat my cereal. I'm not gonna look at my phone. I'm just gonna like be quiet and like let my brain kind of like take a break. So I like this idea. So I was like, okay, I'll draw a bowl of cereal and then I'll add this like text on it. So that one was pretty easy, but I do go back to it later and add some finishing touches. Oh my gosh, this is so ridiculous. So they, I think Andrew came up with this, but then Jay tried it. When his peanut butter jar is running low, or like it's just the scraps of the peanut butter, like you probably just throw it away or like recycle it, he gets really hot water, puts it in, and then like lets it steep and then drinks like hot peanut water, which is so silly. I haven't talked to them about this yet, but like I make a sauce, put in soy sauce and garlic and ginger, and then like shake it up and make like a sauce to put on a stir fry. So they should probably do that. But anyway, that's what they do, peanut tea. So my first idea was like doing it pretty literally and like drawing that can of peanut butter, or like the jar of peanut butter, and then making it look like it was hot. But I didn't really like that. So I just kind of like paused, and I decided to just do something else because it wasn't like flowing anymore. So I actually went back to the Any Eggs logo. I spent like an hour doing this, which I like don't like to admit, but like, yeah, sometimes when you're doing something creative, you like literally spend an hour doing something that's completely useless. When you're in the moment and you're like, oh my God, I just wasted my time doing all this, it sucks, but I think it's just part of the whole thing. So anyway, I wanted to make it more blobby, but then I think I forgot that I was even trying to do that, because then I started to do this where like I was making more spaces in between the E and the G's and the S. And then when I was finished with that version, I like compared it to my old version of when the G's were smashed together, and I didn't even like the new version. I liked the old one. So I was like, all right, sweet, just wasted an hour doing something that I don't even need. Let's go on to the next idea. This is exactly what you think. Well, I don't know if you would think anything when you hear marriage cape. But basically, so Andrew recently got engaged, so they had a whole episode talking about that. So he's grappling with the idea that he has to wear a wedding ring, because he's like, that's boring. I don't even like rings anyway. Like, I get that it's like important to show that you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, but I don't want a ring. So he was joking around about like maybe having a marriage cape. And they brought it up a couple times since, and it just cracks me up picturing him walking around with a cape. So this one was pretty easy to do too. I just kind of like drew out a cape, and then I got the font and distorted it so that it looked like it was actually on the cape. So after that, I was like, all right, we're on a roll. Let's go back to peanut tea and see if we can make it look better. So I drew a different style jar with an actual tea bag coming out of it, which I liked better, but I was still like, ooh, it could be better. So then I thought, well, wait, why don't I just like actually make a teacup? Because I think a teacup is cuter. So I went on Pinterest and I looked up different style teacups, and I saw this square one, and I was like, okay, this is more the vibe, I think. I don't know why, I just thought it was. So I drew out this more square teacup, and I loved it. Yeah, and then drew the peanut, and that was that. Jay is super into making bread, and he's always talking about like what his bread's doing, and it sounds so good. Like every time I listen, I just get pissed because I want some of his like fresh made bread. So I knew I had to put bread on here, and this isn't even an inside joke, it's literally just a loaf of bread. But he's been practicing scoring the bread so that it comes out in like cool designs. So I wanted to make sure to add that, and then yeah, I kind of just like made it more of a rough textured look than the other ones, which I think looks kind of cool to have it mixed up. So for a while, my brothers are so weird, okay? They're both runners, and so their toes get really gross. Like they like are always mashing them and whatever. So for a while, Jay's toe got infected. And for a couple episodes, I think one episode was even called Toe Watch 2020. Oh my God, yeah, I think it was. So yeah, they would like give an update on Jay's toe. So I was thinking, okay, I can make like a toe, and then I can put a watch on it. And I tried a couple different ways, and then I was just like, you know what, there's no way to make a toe look cute. So it's not included. So that is the design that never was. In order to upload it into like the sticker website, it needs to be a 4x6 design. And this design dimensions that I was using before was just like the size of my iPad screen. I changed my canvas to be 4 inches by 6 inches, and then I wanted to like rearrange how everything looked to fit in that specific dimension. I started to think, should I like morph this anyeggs logo to like go in between the other things? So I tested out different things, and then again, when I looked at like what I used to have and what I was thinking, I liked my old one better. So I was like, sweet, moving on. So once I had my layout set of like, okay, this is where I want everything, you can just see how my designs are like blurry, and it would just look bad if I sent in the design like this. And this is what sucks about design in Procreate, is that you're coloring the pixels on the screen. So then when it needs to make the pixels bigger, that's when it just gets blurry, because it doesn't know how to fill in all those new pixels that were created by the bigger screen, or to deal with, you shrunk it and now there's less pixels, and like, how do you color them? So now what I had to do is go through all my designs and redraw them at this size so that it knew how to color all the pixels correctly. This process is actually pretty fun because my designs are done and all I need to do is trace over them. And one of the cool tools with Procreate that like is amazing is if you draw a line and then you hold it still, it like makes a straight line for you. And then if you do a curved line, you can turn it into an arc, and then you can kind of like mess around with how the line is arced. Strokes on the eggs that make them kind of look 3D. Oh, I love them so much. So this whole time I was using a brush called the Technical pen, and for those brush strokes I changed it to this pen called Syrup, which I really like to use. It kind of like makes everything smooth, and if you're pressing lightly it's a very thin line, and then when you press harder it gets really thick. So that's the brush I use for that. Okay, for the cereal, I drew all of the, like, I'm picturing that they're Cheerios. I drew all the Cheerios with the Technical pen, and then for the second layer, I did the marker pen. So when you draw over something, it like kind of makes it multi-dimensional, like it makes it a little bit darker only where things are underneath it. So I thought that was a cool look. So last time I used Sticker Mule, and I didn't shop around a lot. Like, I don't know if that's the cheapest or the best option, but they did a really good job with my last sticker that I sent them. So I'll probably be using them again, and you just go to their website, upload your 4x6 image, and then they send you back like okay, this is how we're gonna cut out the stickers. Like, does this look good? And then you can confirm, yes, it looks good. And then it's like, it was super fast how fast I got them. Like, it was actually ridiculous. Yeah, I'm like so excited. Ooh, maybe I could get a clip of actually giving it to them too. Okay, I think I'm gonna make more videos like this because it was like really fun to document. There's just so much that goes on in the creative process that I feel like you can't, like, when I'm doing it, I'm like laughing and I'm so upset, and I want to be able to communicate like the ups and downs of it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, catch you on the next one.
All right, everybody, on that note, welcome back to the weekly podcast known as the Weekly Wilson Podcast. You can email the show at weeklywilsonpod@gmail.com. I am your damp-haired host, Brian Wilson.
And I am your flopped hair host, Jay Wilson.
I have literally no idea what to expect. That really didn't tip
Same.
me off to anything.
I know, I'm so excited.
Ready to open?
I'm pulling, man.
Rachel, do you know what this is?
Oh, jeez. You ever opened a letter closed with duct tape?
Anyeggs.
Oh no.
Brian.
Are these stickers?
Yeah, they're custom stickers for the Weekly Wilson.
No way.
Freaking way. There's
This
so
is
many
so
of them too.
cool.
Look, we got any eggs, we got peanut tea,
What?
we got some bread up in there. This is so cool.
That's wild. A wedding cake, Brian.
No freaking way. Quiet cereal.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love the quiet cereal. That one really gets me.
And
Oh
we
my
got
gosh.
multiples. I feel like we need to do like sweepstakes or something and like
This
mail
is
these out.
wild. Oh my
Aaron, thank
gosh.
you.
Yeah, this is awesome.
You're welcome.
This can be our first
I started,
merch.
well, we've always talked about merch. And when you guys said Any Eggs, I was like, I pictured that logo, Any Eggs, in my head. And so then when I drew that out, I was like, yo, I could really make this something.
Yeah, so you self-designed
Oh,
all
man.
of these.
Yeah, I drew them all on my iPad. And yeah, then I sent them to stickermule.com and they made it.
This is wild. I feel like
gosh.
I want all these stickers to myself, but I also really want to give these to like my day ones.
I know, right? Well, speaking of mail, we still haven't got to the emails yet. So,
Yeah.
do you want to read this email with us, Aaron?
No, Rachel's about to go get us breakfast sandwiches, so I'm out of here.
All right.
Nice.
Aaron has made her cameo and she is out, man.
Goodness gracious, this is amazing. Thank you,
All right.
Aaron.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Um,